travel on one of the Hampshire diesel units all the way from Winchester Junction to Alton. The main line had been electrified in 1967, and these views at Winchester Junction, looking north, show the exact location of the signal box on the branch. This footage was taken by Bob Cartwright, who worked the line for BR in the early 1970s, and has provided us with this invaluable sequence from the cab and from beside the track. As a mid-Hants service approaches the junction, watch out for the single-line tablet transfer by the signalman on the specially made platform. This would cover the section of line as far as Alresford. Once in the safe hands of the driver, the unit can accelerate towards its first stop at Itchen Abbas, after negotiating the tight curve out of the junction. This section of line is about 225 feet above sea level, mostly on a 1 in 100 rising and falling gradient. Photographs and cine film of the line to Itchen Abbas are very rare, and so this film is particularly important as a record of this now closed section. These 2-car units came to the line in November 1957. They were strengthened to 3 cars for a time, but couldn't cope with the gradients, so were reduced again to 2. The Mid-Hants was the last of the branches in Hampshire to get the new diesels, and it cut 20 minutes off the scheduled run from Southampton to Alton. Some of the deepest cuttings on the line are in this region. Note the plate layers waiting for this train to pass by. We're now on the approach to Itchen Abbas station, which lost its loop in 1931, and by the time of this film boasted a lawn on the platform surface. Itchen Abbas was very similar to Ropley in layout, and attracted a good deal of goods traffic from its farming community. Sam Fay, later to become General Manager of the Great Central, started his railway career here. Driver Bert Jetton concentrates as he prepares to depart for Alresford. His train passes by the railway cottages built in 1892. We're now speeding towards Alresford down the 1 in 100 grade and close to many of the local watercress beds, before climbing up the steep 1 in 80 and passing beneath the various overbridges on the outskirts of the town. The station at Alresford is by far the most important and largest on the line, with a sizable goods shed and grain store built in 1873. It was said at the opening day in 1865 that the arrival of the railway at Alresford was the biggest thing to happen to the town since the Great Fire of 1763. Alresford had the only passing loop on the line after Messtead lost its loop in 1967. Here 2 Hampshire units pass, keeping the signal of the day, Dennis Ford, quite busy. Dennis had a passion for cactus plants and had many inside the signal box. He passes a comment with the driver as he hands him the tablet for the section to Alton. Dennis Ford worked at Alresford Station for over 30 years and worked alongside another local railwayman, Walter Norris, who was on duty the day the line closed. Once out of Alresford's deep cutting, the train heads up the 1 in 80 gradient towards Ropley. The head coach of Mid-Hants trains was number 43. Not a soul is waiting at Ropley station, which lost its loop and signal box in 1931. Shortly after departure from Ropley, the camera swings round to view the village in the distance. Quite a walk to the station for the locals. The summit of the line is now in sight as our unit reaches Medstead and Foremark station, some 650 feet above sea level. The station buildings were different from the others on the line, as they were built 3 years after opening in 1865. At certain times of the day, Medstead station took on quite a busy appearance, mostly with students and school children for Alresford and Winchester. Around the First World War period, several accidents occurred at the station, when trains ran back down the line towards Ropley. Most were troop trains, something the line saw a great deal of in both World Wars. Our train now proceeds through the deep cutting near Boyneswood, ready for the sharp descent of 1 in 60 towards Butts Junction. It was quite common for these services to reach high speeds on this section of the line. By the 1970s, only a single line of track was in place on the approach to Alton, with the Meon Valley line to the right, reduced to ballast. Alton, journey's end, and driver Jetton prepares to take his train back to Southampton. Perhaps he has time to reflect on the steam service he operated before the diesels.